Welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're diving into the world of the 6 most valuable, ultra-rare coins ever discovered. These are not just pieces of metal, they are hidden treasures capable of changing fortunes. Stay with me as we uncover their mystery, unheard value, and the incredible stories behind them. Don't forget, and let's begin this exciting journey into the world of rare coins. First up, imagine holding a small piece of silver no bigger than your thumbnail, yet carrying the power to rewrite your financial destiny. The 1921 Mercury dime, often mistakenly called a bicentennial dime due to its legendary status, is one of the most electrifying coins in the world of U.S. numismatics. This tiny treasure, wrapped in mystery and prestige, sparks emotions in collectors because of its beauty, scarcity, and explosive value potential. For anyone lucky enough to have one, the message is clear. This is not a coin to underestimate. This is a coin that whispers fortune. The story of the 1921 Mercury dime begins during a turbulent period in American history. The nation had just emerged from World War I, industries were rebuilding, and the mint was struggling to balance silver supply with rising demand. The Mercury dime design, Lady Liberty wearing a winged cap symbolizing freedom of thought, became an icon of hope and progress. But 1921 was no ordinary year. Due to economic pressures and shifting priorities, the mint produced far fewer dimes, unintentionally creating one of the rarest issues in the entire Mercury dime series. This lack of production is the reason the 1921 dime became a legend. What sets the 1921 Mercury dime apart isn't just its age, it's the artistic brilliance etched into every curve. The obverse shows Liberty with wings on her cap, a visual metaphor for intellectual freedom. The reverse features a fasces bound with olive branches, symbolizing strength and peace. In worn or dirty condition, the details may appear soft, but collectors know that even faint remnants of the fasces or winged Liberty silhouette command attention. This coin blends symbolism and beauty in a way few others ever achieved, making it one of the most beloved designs in U.S. coinage history. The rarity of the 1921 Mercury dime is not accidental. Its mintage was drastically lower than most other years, both at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Surviving examples were heavily circulated, making fine or very fine conditions exceptionally difficult to find today. Add environmental wear, discoloration, or dirt, and you get a coin that tells a century-long story of travel, trade, and survival. Collectors admire even dirty or worn examples because the real value lies in the coin's scarcity. With demand high and supply painfully thin, every existing 1921 Mercury dime feels like a miracle that slipped through time. While myths claim these coins are worth millions, the realistic and still impressive market value is incredibly strong. Depending on condition, a 1921 Mercury dime generally falls between $500 and $6,000, with the higher end reserved for exceptionally preserved examples. Even lower-grade pieces can bring in hundreds of dollars simply because collectors, investors, and dealers know how hard these are to find. Prices for this coin continue to rise because new collectors enter the hobby every year, yet the number of 1921 dimes will never increase. Supply is frozen forever, and demand is growing like wildfire. Collectors adore the 1921 dime not just for its scarcity, but for what it represents: resilience, artistry, and a window into American life in the early 20th century. This coin bridges history and investment in a way that few pieces can. Its visual elegance appeals to beginners, while its rarity makes experts compete fiercely to acquire it. Even in dirty or heavily circulated condition, it carries an undeniable aura. Holding one feels like connecting with a century of stories that collectors are willing to pay handsomely to preserve. If you believe you have a 1921 Mercury dime, treat it with extreme caution. Do not clean it, cleaning destroys value. Store it in a protective sleeve, avoid touching it with bare hands, and consider getting it professionally graded by a reputable third-party service. When buying, always check the date, mint mark, condition details, and authenticity. Counterfeits exist because demand is huge. And if you're selling, never jump at the first offer. This coin's value grows with patience and proper handling. If you truly own this coin, do not spend it, trade it cheaply, or underestimate it for even a second. This tiny silver relic may not literally make you a billionaire, but it absolutely has the power to change your fortune overnight within its real market range. It is one of the most desirable dimes ever created, and collectors are willing to pay top dollar, sometimes thousands, for the privilege of owning just one. Honor the coin, understand its worth, and let its story inspire the potential it brings to your life. Second, ordinary looking, yet holding a level of power most people can't even imagine. The 1925 Mercury dime, often elevated to near-mythical status by passionate collectors, is one of those coins that can completely transform your financial future if you recognize its importance. This one tiny silver disc has been praised for its beauty, feared for its rarity, and sought after by collectors around the world. If you're lucky enough to hold one in your hands, especially an original circulated piece, don't treat it like spare change. This dime carries the kind of value that could shift your fortune overnight. The year 1925 sits in a fascinating chapter of American history. The nation was experiencing the aftershocks of World War I, industries were expanding, and people were entering what we now call the Roaring Twenties. The U.S. Mint, dealing with fluctuating silver supplies, produced limited quantities of certain denominations during specific years, making some dates unexpectedly rare decades later. The 1925 Mercury dime became one of those standout dates. While millions of coins circulated daily, only a small portion survived the passage of time, giving this particular dime its legendary scarcity and elevating it to elite status among collectors. The 1925 Mercury dime remains one of the most artistically admired coins ever minted. Its obverse features Lady Liberty crowned with wings, symbolizing freedom of thought, and her youthful, determined expression reflects the spirit of progress. On the reverse, the fasces wrapped in olive branches symbolizes the balance of strength and peace. Even in heavily worn or dirty condition, the core design elements still shine through, reminding anyone who examines the coin why it became one of America's most beloved and iconic designs. This combination of symbolism and beauty gives the 1925 dime a visual and emotional presence that modern coins simply cannot replicate. While the 1925 Mercury dime is not the lowest mintage coin in the series, high-quality survivors are uncommon, especially with sharp details. Most circulated heavily over decades, resulting in worn rims, faded fasces, and smoothed wing lines. A clean, crisp 1925 dime is incredibly challenging to find. This rarity drives collectors into fierce competition whenever one surfaces. Even pieces that are toned, dirty, or aged are valuable because time itself has made them scarce. Condition always influences price, but for some coins, like this one, rarity holds almost equal power no matter what level of wear it displays. Although rumors circulate about these coins being worth millions, the true and realistic market value is still impressive and highly desirable. Most 1925 Mercury dimes fall within $500 to $6,000, depending on preservation, detail sharpness, and natural aging. Even lower-grade examples demand attention because collectors know exactly how hard these coins are to locate in any condition. The fact that its value remains strong even in circulated grades proves that the 1925 dime is more than just a piece of silver. It is an investment asset that grows in importance as each year passes. Collectors love the 1925 Mercury dime because it is the perfect blend of rarity, artistry, and historical significance. For many, this coin marks a transition period in American coinage, where beautiful, meaningful designs met real-world economic challenges. Beginners admire its beauty, experts seek its scarcity, and investors pursue its steady price growth. No matter the motivation, the 1925 Mercury dime holds a powerful presence in any collection. Its appeal is universal because it represents more than money. It represents a moment in time captured forever in silver. If you believe you have a 1925 Mercury dime, handle it like a precious artifact. Do not clean it, as cleaning destroys natural surfaces and instantly reduces value. Store it safely in a protective holder, avoid touching it directly, and consider sending it for professional grading to authenticate and preserve it. When buying, always check the date, mint origin, and overall condition. When selling, never rush. This coin is a well-loved numismatic treasure, and serious collectors will pay handsomely for a genuine piece. Patience always leads to higher returns. If you have this coin in your possession, do not spend it or trade it cheaply. The 1925 Mercury dime is one of those rare artifacts that looks ordinary to the untrained eye but holds extraordinary value. Its power lies not just in silver, but in history, scarcity, and demand. This dime may be small, but its potential to elevate your life is enormous. Hundreds, thousands, and possibly more depending on condition. Always treat it with respect, understand its real worth, and recognize that coins like these truly have the ability to change your fortune overnight. The demand for the 1925 Mercury dime has risen sharply in recent years, as more investors turn toward rare coins as a hedge against inflation and economic uncertainty. This coin, with its blend of artistry and scarcity, stands out as one of the most attractive options in its price class. Collectors who hesitated years ago now regret missing the chance to secure one at lower prices, and today's buyers know the market is tightening. As each high-grade example disappears into private collections, competition intensifies, pushing prices upward. Owning a 1925 dime is like owning a small piece of financial history, one that has consistently proven its ability to appreciate over time. There is something deeply emotional about holding a coin minted a century ago. The 1925 Mercury dime has passed through the hands of Americans living in the Roaring '20s, the Great Depression, and every decade beyond. Every nick, scratch, and speck of dirt represents a moment in time, an exchange, a purchase, a life lived. Collectors aren't just paying for silver, they're paying for the stories embedded in the surface of the coin. This emotional connection is a silent force that drives the coin's value higher. People don't just want to own it, they want to preserve it, study it, and honor the history it carries. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1925 Mercury dime is that even heavily worn, toned, or dirty examples remain extremely valuable. Age often enhances a coin's personality, giving it character that polished or cleaned coins can never replicate. Serious collectors understand that originality matters more than appearance. A dime with honest wear and natural aging tells a more authentic story than one that has been artificially brightened. This is why even visually rough examples can still sell for hundreds or thousands of dollars. Rarity outweighs cosmetic imperfections. If your coin is dirty, do not clean it. Its untouched condition is part of its charm and value. If you have a genuine 1925 Mercury dime, you are holding something far more powerful than pocket change. You're holding a miniature treasure chest, one that has helped collectors turn small discoveries into major opportunities. With real-world values ranging from $500 to $6,000, this coin has the ability to fund goals, open doors, and change circumstances. Many people ignore rare coins because they don't recognize their worth, but you already know better. Treat this dime with respect, get it evaluated, and never settle for a low offer. This is one of the few small artifacts that can truly shift your financial future overnight. Third, imagine discovering a dime so small, so innocent-looking, yet holding the power to transform your financial life in an instant. The 1931 Mercury dime, often talked about with fiery passion among collectors, is one of those mysterious treasures that hides unimaginable potential behind its modest appearance. To the untrained eye, it might look like a simple silver coin, but to experts, it is a silent giant. If you have this coin, especially one that has survived in any collectible condition, you're not holding pocket change. You're holding a tiny time capsule capable of rewriting your fortune overnight. The year 1931 sits in the heart of the Great Depression, one of the darkest economic eras in American history. Businesses closed, families struggled, and the mint drastically cut back on coin production as fewer people were spending money. As a result, dimes from this year were minted in far smaller numbers than usual, making the 1931 Mercury dime a scarcity from the very moment it entered circulation. Its existence is tied directly to hardship, survival, and resilience, qualities that elevate its historical value and cement its importance in America's numismatic legacy. The 1931 Mercury dime showcases one of the most admired designs in U.S. coinage. Lady Liberty appears with a winged cap, representing freedom of thought, creativity, and the spirit of progress. The reverse side features a fasces tied with olive branches, a symbol of unity, strength, and peace. This combination of symbolism makes the coin feel alive with meaning. Even in worn or dirty condition, the elegance of the design shines through. Collectors love this dime not only for what it's worth, but for what it represents, a merging of art, history, and national identity. Because so few dimes were minted in 1931, finding one today in any condition is an accomplishment. High-grade examples are incredibly scarce, and even circulated pieces have become increasingly difficult to locate. Many were lost, melted, or heavily worn through decades of use. For collectors, this scarcity creates an irresistible challenge. Even a dirty or heavily worn 1931 Mercury dime is considered valuable because its rarity outweighs imperfections. Condition does influence price, of course, but the simple fact that this coin survived nearly a century already makes it a miniature miracle. While legends claim these coins are worth millions, the realistic and still impressive market value is what makes them so appealing to everyday collectors. Depending on preservation and grade, the 1931 Mercury dime typically ranges between $500 and $6,000. Coins with sharper details or natural tunning push toward the upper end of that spectrum. Even lower-grade examples still attract serious attention because demand consistently exceeds supply. This steady rise in interest has made the 1931 dime a strong contender for long-term investment and a favorite among those looking for historically significant silver. Collectors are drawn to the 1931 Mercury dime because it perfectly balances beauty, rarity, and historic weight. It is neither too common nor impossibly rare, just rare enough to feel exclusive and powerful, yet still attainable for determined enthusiasts. Its Depression-era origins give it emotional depth, while its artistic design adds visual appeal. This dual attraction makes it a cornerstone of any Mercury dime collection. Whether starting a new set or enhancing an existing one, collectors know the 1931 dime elevates everything around it. If you think you possess a 1931 Mercury dime, treat it with the highest level of care. Never scrub, wash, or clean the coin. Cleaning destroys original surfaces and ruins value instantly. Instead, keep it in a protective holder, handle it minimally, and consider sending it to a grading service to authenticate it. When buying or selling, always compare condition, mint marks, and originality. And when selling, don't rush. The right buyer will pay strongly for an untouched, authentic example. Patience leads to higher profit. If this coin is in your hands, do not spend it or sell it cheaply. The 1931 Mercury dime is not ordinary. Its rarity, history, and collector demand give it the power to change your circumstances overnight. Its true worth lies not just in silver, but in the incredible story behind it. So safeguard it, understand it, and honor it. Opportunities like this come once in a lifetime. What might look like a small dime to others could be your doorway to wealth, success, and life-changing reward. Over the last few years, The 1931 Mercury dime has experienced a surge in demand, unlike anything seen before in its price category. As more collectors realize how few of these coins actually survived the Great Depression, competition has intensified. Auctions that once saw modest participation now attract fierce bidding wars. Collectors hunt tirelessly for any example, clean, dirty, worn, toned, or tarnished, because they know supply is shrinking while the number of buyers is rising. This explosive growth is pushing prices higher each year, proving that this coin isn't just historically important. It is a rising investment star in the numismatic world. One of the most captivating things about the 1931 Mercury dime is the emotional gravity it carries. This coin endured one of the harshest economic periods in history, traveling through the pockets of people who were fighting to survive. Every scratch, every worn detail, every tiny mark speaks of a life lived through adversity. When collectors hold this coin, they feel that legacy. The silence of the 1930s, the struggle, the endurance. That emotional power is one of the reasons collectors pay so much for it. They're not just buying silver. They're buying a story that survived the hardest years America ever faced. Even if your 1931 Mercury dime is heavily circulated, stained, or naturally aged, it still possesses tremendous value. In fact, the imperfections often become part of the charm. Serious numismatists respect originality far more than artificial shine. A coin that shows its age honestly is always preferred over one that has been improperly cleaned or polished. Dirt, tunning, and wear are badges of authenticity, proof that the coin lived through decades of real use. That's why collectors still compete fiercely for even the rougher examples. In the world of rare dimes, purity of history matters more than purity of color. If you possess a 1931 Mercury dime, you may be holding a hidden treasure far greater than its size suggests. Within the realistic value range of $500 to $6,000, this coin has the power to eliminate financial stress, unlock new opportunities, or simply deliver a reward you never expected. Many people unknowingly spend rare coins because they don't recognize their worth. Don't let that be your story. Protect it, verify it, and never rush into selling it cheaply. This dime's combination of rarity, beauty, and historical impact makes it one of the few small objects that can genuinely change your fortune overnight. Fourth, imagine holding a dime so ordinary in size yet so extraordinary in value that it feels like a secret treasure disguised as pocket change. The 1943 Mercury dime, a cherished relic from the World War II era, is a coin that collectors whisper about with admiration and excitement. Though myths often exaggerate its worth into millions, the truth is still astonishing. This dime, especially in collectible condition, carries a financial punch far beyond its tiny frame. If you own one, even in worn or dirty shape, you're not holding spare change. You're holding a piece of history strong enough to shift your fortune overnight. The year 1943 sits at the height of World War II, a time when America's resources, industries, and people were stretched to their limits. Silver production was closely monitored, and the U.S. Mint worked under intense pressure to supply coins for an economy in motion. Even though millions of dimes were produced, wartime circulation was so heavy that very few survived in high-quality condition. Most were worn down quickly by constant use. This is why the 1943 Mercury dime became a standout piece, not just a coin, but a survivor of one of the most dramatic periods in American history. The beauty of the 1943 Mercury dime lies in its artistic brilliance. Lady Liberty appears wearing a winged cap, symbolizing the freedom of thought and the unstoppable spirit of American progress. The reverse displays the fasces wrapped with olive branches, representing unity, strength, and peace, especially meaningful during wartime. Even when worn or aged, the design radiates elegance. Every curve, every symbol, every detail speaks of hope and resilience. Collectors adore this coin not only for its value, but for the remarkable artistry that makes it one of the most stunning small-denomination coins ever minted. While the 1943 Mercury dime isn't the lowest mintage date in the series, surviving examples in sharp, detailed condition are surprisingly scarce. Most were heavily circulated during the war, leaving behind worn surfaces, faint details, and signs of intense use. High-grade pieces are particularly rare and extremely sought after. Even dirty, toned, or aged coins hold significant worth because collectors know how difficult it is to find original examples. In the world of numismatics, rarity doesn't always mean low mintage. It often means low survival rates, and the 1943 dime is a perfect example. Despite legends of million-dollar payouts, the realistic and still impressive value range for the 1943 Mercury dime is $500 to $6,000, depending on condition and preservation. Coins with sharper details, original luster, or attractive natural tunning soar toward the higher end of the scale. Even worn or circulated pieces can bring in hundreds of dollars because demand is consistently strong. Collectors compete fiercely for this wartime issue, driving prices up and making it an appealing long-term investment for anyone lucky enough to own one. Collectors love the 1943 Mercury dime because it represents the perfect combination of artistry, history, and emotional significance. Its wartime origin gives it depth, while its iconic design draws admiration from beginners and experts alike. It's a coin that feels alive with meaning. Every scratch tells a story. Every detail reflects the tension and determination of the 1940s. Owning one elevates any collection, signaling that the collector values both beauty and historical power. The appeal is universal and timeless. If you believe you have a 1943 Mercury dime, handle it with respect. Do not clean it. Cleaning destroys its value instantly. Store it in a protective holder, avoid touching it directly, and consider professional grading for authentication and accurate pricing. When buying or selling, pay attention to mint marks, originality, and wear patterns. And most importantly, do not rush into selling it cheaply. A patient, well-presented sale often leads to significantly higher profits, especially for coins with strong eye appeal. If this dime is in your hands, do not underestimate it. Don't spend it, don't trade it thoughtlessly, and definitely don't let it slip away for pocket change. The 1943 Mercury dime carries history, rarity, and collector passion, all powerful forces that make it a coin capable of transforming your financial situation. Treat it like the treasure it is. This small piece of silver may be tiny, but the opportunity it brings is enormous. With the right care and the right buyer, this wartime dime could be the turning point you never expected. What makes the 1943 Mercury dime truly irresistible is the history it carries. Each coin was minted during the height of World War II, a time when every piece of silver mattered and the nation's economy was under extraordinary pressure. Holding this dime is like holding a piece of that moment in history, a tangible connection to the hopes, fears, and resilience of Americans during a global crisis. Collectors aren't just chasing silver, they're chasing a story, a piece of living history that can never be recreated. That emotional weight adds immeasurable value beyond the coin's metal content, making it a true collector's dream. Even within the realistic market range of $500 to $6,000, the 1943 Mercury dime has proven itself as a sound investment. Its value is fueled by a combination of scarcity, historical importance, and growing collector demand. Unlike many assets that fluctuate wildly, rare coins like this one have a steady upward trajectory over time. Each year that passes without this coin appearing in circulation only strengthens its market position. Investors and collectors alike recognize this potential, understanding that owning a genuine 1943 Mercury dime is more than just possessing a collectible. It's securing a small yet powerful financial. If you are fortunate enough to have a 1943 Mercury dime, your approach must be strategic. Protect it, research it, and treat it as both a historical treasure and a financial instrument. Do not allow impatience or ignorance to dictate its fate. The coin's rarity, combined with its powerful story and collector demand, makes it a key piece that could define your entire collection. Even coins in modest condition are prized for their survival, and every authentic example is a symbol of endurance, artistry, and value. Recognize its potential, respect its history, and let this tiny silver dime become one of the most impactful assets you will ever hold.